Welcome back to Tacoma Report. I'm joined today with Alyssa Torres, City of Tacoma Senior Planner, and Ted Richardson, Strategic Initiatives Coordinator with the city. Alyssa, let's start with you. What is the Home in Tacoma package all about?
So really, the Home in Tacoma package is about bringing more housing choices to the city. So we're working on rezoning a large part of our city to allow for more housing types to be built so that people have more housing choice when they're looking for housing.
Yeah. So over the course of several years, there has been many public hearings, public meetings. So where are we at in the phase with the Home in Tacoma package?
You're right. We have been holding a lot of public engagement over the last several years to get input from our community members about what they'd like to see in housing and how they'd like to see our city grow. So at this point, we're taking all of that input, put it into a package that we took to Planning Commission. They've given their final recommendation. So now we're taking that packet that we've worked on for the past several years and putting it before City Council. So now City Council gets to look at it and gets to make their final decision on what it looks like and when it gets implemented.
Awesome. So what kind of changes will a citizen see in relationship to housing code and zoning with the in-home package?
Lots of changes. It's a big package, but overall we're really looking at the change in zoning. So looking at making it so we can build more housing types in traditionally single family homes. So it's been really prohibitive up until now that you can only build a certain type of home, a single family home, in a large part of our city. So now we're changing that zoning to allow for more density in our neighborhood. So 4 to 8 units on those single family lots. And then other rules that come along with that, with reducing parking and just making it so that housing can be more easily built in our neighborhoods.
And Ted, why is housing affordability and the missing middle housing such a priority for city leaders? And for those who don't know, what is missing middle housing?
Yeah, so missing middle housing is duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, up to small apartment buildings, maybe 10 total units. And why it's called missing middle is because we have lots of apartment buildings and we have lots of single family houses, but not a lot in between. And so how that interacts with affordability is we've all seen that rents are quite expensive and that home purchase prices are also very expensive. And so for somebody who may not want to live in an apartment, or maybe it's a family, but they can't afford a big single family house, something in the middle is going to be more appropriate for them, and it may be something that they're actually able to afford. But you could also imagine somebody who has retired and their kids have moved out and they now live in a large single family house and it's simply too much space. They maybe want to stay in their community, but there's nothing there that meets their needs because they don't want to live in a small apartment. And so that missing middle housing would also meet their needs. And so there's a big intersection between that missing middle and affordability because it creates a broader range of types of housing, which also means it creates a broader range of housing affordability or housing costs.
So what other kind of programs in relation to housing affordability does the City of Tacoma offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our Affordable Housing Action Strategy and our new anti-displacement strategy. And Home in Tacoma makes up a big, but just a piece of both of those strategies. And so there's 4 overall objectives. The first of which Home in Tacoma is a part of is to just create more homes and more types of homes and more homes at different price points. So there are a bunch of other objectives or a bunch of other actions within that first objective. So just funding affordable housing is a big one. We need to give money to developers so that they can build affordable housing. The second is really about preservation. We have a lot of housing already, although not enough. So we need to preserve what we have.
Absolutely.
And then the last 2 are really around keeping people housed. There are a lot of risks for people being displaced. And so the more we can do with financial resources or legal resources to keep them housed and keep them stable, the healthier Tacoma as a whole will be. So really Home in Tacoma just is part of all of that.
And Alyssa, you already alluded a little bit to the zoning and housing codes. So the goal is to maximize the amount of housing and types. What are some of those codes and zoning in the package that does that?
So really it is around the zoning. So we're creating 3 new residential zones that allow for different levels of density throughout the city. And that is really based on those zones and their proximity to things like transit and complete neighborhood features like schools and parks, because we want to put the density strategically throughout the city that are really near to where people need to be, so that they can live close to where they need to work or go to school or things like that. So that zoning is really the bulk of the package, and then it comes along with some design standards, some other kind of site development standards where we can put parking and trees and things like that, because we want to make sure that we keep our neighborhoods as livable and thriving as possible.
Awesome. And then Ted, last one. So where can a citizen who's watching this interview find out more information about upcoming sessions, public hearing happening very soon? In relation to that, where can a citizen go to find more information?
So definitely go to the city's webpage, www.cityoftacoma.org/home in Tacoma. That is absolutely the place you want to start. There are many materials on there. They're quite wonky and quite wonderful. And then you can reach out to us. My email is trichardson@cityoftacoma.org. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Wow. Well, you dynamic duo, you guys are doing such a great job, and I know your teams are working really hard behind the scenes, so special thanks to them for just really taking the time to do your very best to provide caring solutions with several options for all. So thank you so much for taking time to be here with us today.
Thank you.